but it's mental health. And so we talk because mental health ties in directly to your physical health. And it's, my mental health was the reason that God ordered my steps to do what I do. And so, God uses adversity to make us more like Jesus.
I say that one more time.
So God uses adversity to make us more like Jesus. And I say that because I have lost count of how many times the devil has tried to wreck my life. And then God has turned it around for good, to build strength, to mold me, to help me find my purpose. And, just like we discussed last week with Rocky, our time here on earth, isn't guaranteed. It's a gift, and we determine how to use that gift. And, I did it for many years teaching, but the core of what I was doing was helping others. And purpose lies in the gifts that God has given us. And that's my gift, is he wants us to use those gifts to bring more people home to him. And my purpose, the reason I started ministry and movement coaching, and now the Healing Out Loud podcast that Ryan's helping me with, and that you're helping me with, and you've been, a conduit to make this happen, is to help people heal and show them how much God loves them. And part of the healing process is recognizing issues, understanding the root cause of them, and being brave enough to take action. Yeah. And it's something I say to my clients all the time, you got to choose your hard. Creating discipline in your life is hard, but so is feeling bad. So you got to choose which hard you want to live with.
Well, years ago, when I heard a person went to therapy for counseling and things like that, I thought that's whack. Yep. So it ain't whack.
No. And that's the thing is, like, years ago, people weren't brave enough to talk about it. And as a teacher, I was never brave enough to talk about how coming in every day and absorbing all the emotional energy from all the kids, you want to help every single one of them, and you want to be everything for them that they're not getting at home. Plus you want to instill a love of whatever it is you're teaching at the same time. But all of that is very mentally taxing on you, mentally and physically. Like I would come home, and I taught elementary for the last 9 years of my career. And in 4 days, I would see around 500 to 600 kids. And that's every 4 days I'm seeing that volume of children. And I always talk about percentages. You've got the larger percentage are great. They're great kids. They listen, they're fun. They just do anything you ask them to do, and then you have the other percentages that are harder because they're dealing with lots of things outside of their control. They're little, and they're products of their environment. And so you're having to absorb, whatever kind of energy that is. And, it's taxing. I would come home from teaching though. And I'm a professional fitness athlete now. And my preps are very rigorous, but I would come home after teaching and be so physically worn out from all the emotional strain. It was something indescribable. And then I would use I talked about this before, but I would use like a glass of wine or substances to try to help be a Band-Aid for that.
Was it called a crutch or a Band-Aid?
Both.
It helped.
It helped, but it didn't, but it made it worse, because, and I'll talk about that too. It's like the things that we're choosing to indulge in are brief solutions. But then on the back end, it's a vicious cycle because it just causes more harm.
I was in a mental bad state the past 2 days. So what did I do last night? I went out drinking.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yep.
And I woke up today, it's still there. Your problem's still there.
The problem is still there.
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
Coming into this portion of the show, by the way, is brought to you by our friends at Bricktop's Restaurant. When I go into a restaurant or bar, I get to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
You have so many people that come into a restaurant that have mental problems. You can't tell.
Yep.
I meet ladies all the time. They tell you, Mom, I'm unhappy. And they don't know what to do.
Do you know that 1 in 3 people, this is not a statistic that I was aware of until a few years ago, but did you know that 1 in 3 people sitting in a room have a mental health disorder?
No, I didn't know that much.
So, we've got us 3 sitting here, and I'm going to be brave and honest because I've talked about it already. It was the reason I got into lifting, but I suffer from anxiety, large amounts of anxiety that I never even recognized when I up and through my 30s, didn't even recognize I had it.
I had it first time I had anxiety, I was at a restaurant, Balaban's, And the sister was saying, so the manager came over. He said, "What's wrong?" I was acting like I was racing or whatever.
Yeah.
I went home and had to get out of my bed and drive my car around. And I parked on Snook's parking lot. And I was just anxiety. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. It's it can be debilitating,
Yeah.
And so that's something that I want to talk about today. There are 12 recognized and widely recognized mental disorders. You've got depression, obviously. That's something that we have either experienced or had someone in our lives experience. We've got anxiety disorder, that I have always struggled with and didn't realize it until, like my early 40s. We've got panic disorder, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, ADHD. I saw that a lot, when I taught. I saw kids a lot with that. Autism spectrum disorder, I saw that quite a bit. And actually, my autistic kids that I taught, it's a trait for autistic kids normally to be very musically inclined. And that's something that, not everybody knows unless you're a parent or a teacher. Mm-hmm. But that is a trait for them, is like music really speaks to them.
Do parents really recognize when their kids, like these students that shoot up schools and different things, parents should recognize something, shouldn't it? Is that part of mental health also?
That goes back to our own selves too. It's like, it's there, but do we want to be brave enough to recognize it? And that's with our own children too, because they're an extension of us.
Because if your daughter came home one day and started dressing in all black, putting black all under her eyes and acting strange, you would say something to her. Some people don't.
I think people see it, but they don't want to admit that it's happening. I think that that's part of it, because it's scary. And I get that as a parent. I get that as, an individual, but.
By the way, our daughter speaks to me now, Ryan. It's really nice.
Got over that hump. But we've got PTSD too, so I've had a lot of friends that have been in the military, they suffer a lot from PTSD. I've suffered briefly from it as well.
Explain that to the listeners.
I've been in a couple traumatic experiences, but PTSD is something that happens after a traumatic event, so like if you're in battle and you have large explosives going off around you, then, later on when you come home, large noises can be triggers.
When you say large
or loud noises,
okay,
sorry.
Okay.
Loud, I was using the wrong word. Loud noises can be triggers. And for me, this was an event that happened. It was when I was teaching at Maplewood, but I had gone home for, I think it was Thanksgiving, and it was right on hunting season. But I was driving on the, it's a highway, but it's like in the middle of nowhere highway to my mom's, right? So it's like lots of homes on each side in this little community out in the middle of the woods. But I heard, I was slowing down to turn into my mom's drive because she lives off the county road. And I heard a loud boom. I had Melena in the car with me. She was probably 3 or 4. She was in the back in the car seat. Heard a loud boom. And of course that like distracted me. So I turned to my left, and briefly, like right when I heard the sound, I saw a person in camouflage like fall backwards and fall down. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think that they just accidentally, shot themselves.
Yeah.
So I pull in as quick as I can. Melena's still in the car seat, and I see what had happened. And this woman that was trying to unjam her gun didn't know proper gun handling and had it pointed at her face. Oh. And when it unjammed, she shot herself straight in the face, and it went through her cheek and like out the back of her neck. And she's, it's not something I was trained to respond to. I'm not a trained first responder, but God ordered my steps to help her, and it helped save her life, and she survived it. Wow. But that was that event though, and seeing all the pieces of it, unfold right in front of my eyes, which is, I'm not good with blood. There's a reason I'm not a nurse.
Well, you had a lot of blood then.
Yeah, a ton. But God ordered my steps. Like as soon as it happened, I came to assist her. I got towels to put on the wound to stop the bleeding. I made sure she was on her side once she started to get sick. So when she started puking, she didn't choke on her own vomit.
The baby's still in the car.
My daughter was still in the car, and actually her children were inside the house. And so there was someone inside the house that had tried to come out, and I said, stay inside with the kids. Do not let them see this. I removed the gun from the scene and like put it off to the side so that, there wouldn't be any more accidents, from that. And then I went and I had the lady, watch over her for a second. I took Melena. My mom's house was right next door. So like I ran to my mom's house and took Melena over there, came right back and had my mom call 911. And then eventually my mom was able to get Milena sorted with some family members that were there, and she came because she used to work in an ER, so so she knew more what to do than I did.
Right, she's counselor Juliet Bagwell.
Yes.
You saved the woman's life.
I did, yeah, I did, and she thanked me later.
You ever see her?
Responder.
You ever see her when you go to see your mom?
Yeah, so I saw her at church after that happened.
Did she get disfigured at all?
She had a scar on her face, of course, but she survived. And that was
the big thing.
That was the blessing, and it was wild. But anyway, saying all that, like I experienced PTSD, so loud noises for me are still a little bit of a trigger. I think that I have a little bit of PTSD from teaching all those years too, just like all the extra loud noises. Like I really don't. And that's one of the reasons, like, I don't like being around large crowds of people.
Okay. One thing I've noticed about you personally, when she's working or not working, you have to be very careful how you use your voice around her.
Yes.
Because she takes it a different step. I'm serious.
Well, I think that everyone has a different love language. And so for mine, one of my love languages is words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. And so if you're saying something, your tone matters to me and what you're saying matters to me.
Well, I have a bad tone sometimes when I talk to people. So the other week I said, Ron, I want you to talk to Juliet about this. I don't want to. Because sometimes I don't know how to talk.
Well, to people. You may have a more abrasive tone.
Remember that?
Yes.
My daughter's telling me this. She said, Dad, you got to learn how to talk to people. It's too late now.
Yeah. But, well, and I had, that was something when I was with Milena, as her mom, I have a very direct approach in communication.
Which is good.
It is. However, when you have a really sensitive child, it comes across more abrasive sometimes, and you have to be cognizant and aware of how you come across with everyone's personality. And a lot of times I had very high expectations of Milena growing up, and still do, but my tone a lot of times hurt her feelings, and I didn't never mean to. That was never purposeful. It was
still do.
No, because
she knows you know.
She recognizes. I recognized what I was doing. So it was a two-way street. We met in the middle. And that was part of our healing process during COVID when, we had a gap in communication that helped us bring us together. Is her
personality similar to yours at all?
In certain ways, yes. She has more patience when it comes to like tedious things though. Like for me, I can't sit on the phone and wait or to talk to someone like from a telephone company or like to solve an issue where you have to talk to 5 different people. Like I lose my patience real quick. She is so good at that. Like she has a lot of patience. She's very calm and understanding. And that's something she can vacillate pretty quickly and be like, I don't know, get upset, but then she's also very calm at the same time.
All the girls that work there, because I know just about everybody, especially the sisters, they love her daughter. I'm serious.
Yeah.
With Genesis, all those people, they just, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She can listen to him. And the other day, one of the girls lost their telephone. Who came through for her? Your
Milena.
daughter.
Yeah. No, she's a good kid. Like she's just a big-hearted person. Like I raised a good human, and I'm very proud of that.
You sure did. I'll protect her. I'll knock somebody out.
I will too.
I
get so protective of her.
A lot of people need therapy. They don't realize it.
They don't realize it.
Plus your insurance company pays for it.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Well, some insurance companies do, not all.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, like when I taught, I don't think for the longest time, like our insurance company did not cover mental health. And so when Milena was struggling with anxiety in high school and then myself, like we didn't have insurance to cover that. So I had to figure out a way, and this is a tool for parents too. If you happen to be in a situation where your insurance doesn't cover it, utilize your school counselors. If you have kids that are like going through something, call the school, talk to the counselor and have them set up weekly meetings with your kiddo to have check-ins, just to have like a safe place for them to go to talk to someone. That's a tool that you can use, and it's free.
The voice you hear is Juliet Bagwell. Let's take our first time out of the day. We're going to come back. What are we going to talk about when we come back, Juliet?
Well, we're going to continue. I'm going to give you some more helpful tips and tools to first recognize mental health in yourself. And like, if there's something not quite right, and then I'm going to give you tools to help with it.
How come people ignore it? I ignored it for years.
I did too.
I ignored it. My oldest daughter went to the doctor. She said, Dad, you need to go to a therapist. I said, therapist. So I went to a therapist, And my therapist, I went to for about 3 years, quit.
Did you find another one?
Nope, I have not. I really want to go. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody.
Right. Everybody needs that person.
Instead of yourself, you need to talk to someone. I'm serious.
Yes.
We'll take a quick time out. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Bricktops Restaurant here at Plaza Frontenac. We're on now with the wonderful Juliet Bagwell. Now she got a podcast on or something? What is it?
We are, well, let me say it. We are filming this live, but we're not putting it on YouTube yet. We're recording it, and then I'm going to edit it, and then we're going to post the full video on
So
Friday.
what you're doing, you're taking me out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
I can't be on YouTube anyway.
You still in it. It's just when I'm playing this music, I'm cutting that out.
Yeah, I can't have music on YouTube.
When you start talking, after she done talking, that's when I cut it out.
I'm the only show here is not on YouTube.
Yes.
Because you can't play music on YouTube.
Yeah, no,
That
copyright.
kind of
Yeah, copyright. Yeah. So live music, right? But we talked about this
but I gotta have my
for her clips, I can play it. But for your music though, like if you for the long form, I can't do that either. You're not gonna make no money.
Right.
But like for your clips, I think I put one of your songs.
Yeah, you did.
Clips.
You put Surrender on that clip of Rocky and I talking about what a typical day for him looks like. It was great. Yeah, thank you. We're continuing our talk with mental health, and we were kind of going through some of the 12 common types of mental disorders. And so we had stopped with PTSD, told you a little bit about my background with that and how that's affected me. But then obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. I don't know if I've ever been like really diagnosed with this, but I know I'm a perfectionist and I do have a little bit of that, and that runs through my veins for sure. Eating disorders, we talked a little bit about this on break, but that's something that I never had until I started competing. And then for a little bit after, I think it was my second show or third show, I became bulimic for a little bit because my ghrelin hormone and leptin, those levels in my brain were out of whack. And so I wasn't ever satiated, and I wasn't purposely trying to make myself sick, but like I would just eat because I wasn't ever satiated. And then I would get so full and so bloated, I would be sick and I would throw up, And so I dealt with that for, gosh, it was almost a year of trying to heal my body of that because my levels were off. So I'm definitely, I'm hitting some markers here on mental health, but I want to be open and honest because I want you to be open and honest with yourself. But personality disorders, there's another level or another kind of mental health disorder, and then substance abuse disorders, and so that's very common. Addiction is probably one of the most common mental disorders.
What about people that go to gambling casinos and gamble too much?
That's an addiction.
That's an addiction.
Yeah. It can be a substance or an activity. There's people that are addicted to porn, so there's all different kinds of addictions that are out there. But addiction it's your brain, and there's a part of your brain that has that dopamine hit when you get whatever it is, and so that's what becomes, nicotine can be very addictive. Obviously, vaping is addictive.
Don't vape, kids.
Don't vape.
Gosh,
don't vape.
Don't do that. Please do not inhale metal and whatever else is in that stuff.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah,
so many young people I see doing it.
Yeah,
so many people at school were hitting vapes, and I have no problem with it. I don't vape, but like I'm just like, come on, man.
I'm going to be honest, like I've never been a smoker, but during my last prep, I was having trouble sleeping. And this is something we'll talk about too with substance and abuse, or not abuse, but just using substances. But I would use a THC vape pen to help me fall asleep. And so that became, at first it was helpful, but then it gave me more anxiety.
Yeah. The cart. Yeah. It depends on how much you hit the cart. The cart the cart give you too much.
Is that similar to what happened to Michael Jackson?
I don't think so. No.
No.
Well,
I'm not sure though. I was not there.
He was prescribed the drug because he couldn't sleep.
Oh,
that's all mental also.
Well, yeah. Anytime you abuse a substance, it's going to have detrimental effects for sure. I wasn't necessarily abusing it. I just whenever you use something, it changes your brain chemistry, and my body is super sensitive. So it's not like I had it's not like I took too much of a gummy, because I've definitely done that before too and had an anxiety attack, but this is more of like over time, your system like becomes more immune to whatever it is. And then it creates for some people more of the problem, not helping. It stops becoming a tool.
Yeah.
It starts becoming more of a.
It's not a solution.
No, not a solution. So now I use melatonin, and then I actually I'm really proud of myself because this was around Christmas that I stopped using the vape pen to help fall asleep. But and so now I don't use anything except for just a little bit of melatonin. I did. Yeah. Yep. I just stopped because I know how bad it is for your lungs. I taught music for 20 years, but I was a singer, during that entire time. And so I've never smoked for that reason because it always hurt my throat and it didn't taste good. So I
just music also, correct?
Oh, yeah, she loves music. She's a great, so she sang with the St. Louis Children's Choir for years, but she's a very talented musician. She can play some instruments, ukulele, a little bit of guitar, a little bit of piano, and then she sings. So, yeah, but that's a tool, and that's something that we're going to talk about. Music is a tool for mental health. Let's talk about the severe mental illnesses. So you've got schizophrenia. Off air, you were talking a little bit about that, Charlie. You've got anorexia, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, PTSD can be severe, and then obsessive compulsive disorder can be debilitating for some people. So those are the more severe ones. And then the others that we discussed are not as severe, but can definitely affect your life. And, the first step in all of this is just recognizing that there's something wrong and taking action.
Is that the hardest part?
That's the hardest part with anything. It's being brave enough to take action or just being self-aware enough to recognize it and then being brave enough to take the action steps to help yourself. I think that's the hardest part. Yeah. Or loving yourself enough. And that was something we talked about off air, but I wrote the book 90 Days Known because there was a gap when I was coaching people, like that mental health gap. I can give you all the tools in the world, but if you're depressed and you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, I can't help you with that.
Yesterday. I'll tell you what depresses me now, and I got to go back to my therapist. I'm afraid of getting old. Some people are like that, don't they?
Yeah.
Unc, I want to reach your age, man.
Right. Well, and you're only as old as you feel,
Oh, I don't feel, but I don't know what it is about February. It's like this. February is a down month.
Really?
January is my down month.
Oh,
yeah. I would say January is more of my, it's that seasonal depression that living in the Midwest and when it gets cold and it's ugh.
Like it's rained all day Saturday.
Yeah, I hate the winter. I always have car problems. Like literally on Saturday, I was supposed to be at the station and I had to get all 4 of my tires fixed. So I had to get all 4 new tires, but
and holidays sometimes can be stressful. Obviously they can fill your heart with warmth and love, but they can also be stressful. So
death is very stressful. I've got to
go so stressful.
I've got to go. I would drive to my brother-in-law's father died. I got to go to Caruthersville.
Oh wow,
Illinois, way up there.
That's down the south.
Way south. Yep.
That's a little bit closer because I grew up in Advance, which is 30 minutes south of Cape. But yeah, Caruthersville wasn't too far from us there.
Caruthersville, Illinois.
Yeah. No, I know, but but it's south. It's Illinois, but it's south. Yeah, so it's not too far from where I grew up. But
I'm gonna think somebody wants to ride with me. I said, nope, because when I drive, I think.
Well, yeah, that's your self-reflection time, and so driving can be very therapeutic. When I went and picked up my FJ in Texas and then drove back through the night, I listened to my soundtrack off of my 90 Days Known book. That was 7 hours of music that's on there. And that's what I listened to. I worshiped, and that was my time with the Lord. And
did you think about your life and where it's going right now?
Absolutely. I do that every day. And it's because, so let's talk about tools to help with mental health, because one of the things that I do daily now, and I had to layer it in, was to practice gratitude. You got to build healthy patterns in your life. And so when I wake up, I have a Bible app. I have the real Bible, the actual Bible. I try to read in both, but I practice gratitude. I have a little note in my phone and I write down the things that I'm thankful for, because gratitude and anxiety cannot exist simultaneously in your brain.
Okay.
And so if you start your day that way, instead of the doom and gloom, thinking of everything that you have to do or thinking of everything that's not going right, and you are practicing and recognizing what is going right and giving thanks, that's automatically starting your mind in a better spot than obviously, if you don't do that. So that's a huge tool, is like right out of the gate, start that. Read from the Bible. Read the shorts. The Bible app is really nice because it gives you little short stories or verses to read. And it's not like committing to reading an entire chapter. If you just layer that 5 minutes in a day, it's going to start you off in a positive way. And some of my favorite authors, anything by Mark Batterson, you can read. The 7 Love Languages is great because understanding more of who you are and how you operate and how you connect with people is going to help you. The Stranger on the Road to Emmaus was one that I read going through my divorce because that helped me understand the Bible has always been very overwhelming to me.
How long were you married?
We were together total 6 years. We were married for 2. So we dated for 2. We were engaged for 2. We were married for almost 2.
How long were you unhappy?
The last 2 years. Okay. Yeah. Cause he changed quite a bit when we got married, and it was, yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes people do that. They put on a mask and they want you to see what they want you to see. And then they take the mask off, and then you really get the reality of what happened in my situation. But The Stranger on the Road to Emmaus, though, beautiful book. And this is like, it helps you understand how all the chapters in the Bible and how all the books are put together to understand the overarching, like in words that for you to understand that are easy. So I highly recommend that book for anyone that's trying to understand or start to read the Bible from, front to back. Like The Stranger on the Road to Emmaus, great place to start. The Healing Code, that's another book that talks about how to heal yourself. And then The Shack, that's one that was made into a movie, but that's one of my favorite books. The Shack. Yeah. So it's a story about a man that loses his daughter and had a rough childhood and always struggled with his relationship with God. And it takes you through the journey of his childhood, knowing who he was and what created his feelings and where he was at. But then it also shows his struggle with something bad that happened in his life and how it came around full circle for him to fully heal from all of that. And it teaches you a beautiful story about forgiveness.
Okay.
So it's one of my favorite books. But
you're listening to the one and only Juliet Bagwell. You can hear her every Tuesday here at 11 o'clock. So join in.
Yeah. And then praying, worshiping. So I love to listen to worship music, Christian music. I sing, I play, I create. I'm doing that everywhere. I'm doing that in my car, listening to 99.1. If I'm at home, I'm trying to create or recreate a song that I like, a Christian song. When I'm working out at the gym, I'm listening to Christian playlists. Move your body. And so this is something that I was telling you a little bit off air. My daughter, so proud of her. She moved into her first apartment January 1st. She came to me the other day at work and she was like, Mom, I'm really having a lot of anxiety. Like I'm starting to have like physical symptoms of all my anxiety just from all the layers and the stresses in my life, And so I told her, and she knew this already, but like it was just good for me to verbalize it again. But like I was like, Melina, there are so many things that you can do, like non-medicinal, because she had mentioned I need to make it a doctor's appointment. I'm like, absolutely, that's something that you can do. But here are all the tools that you have, non-medicinal tools that will help you. And movement is the first. It's what saved me.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, especially me who just moved into their first, because I had a college apartment, I pay the school, they give me an apartment. I got 3 roommates, but this is like my first one.
First real.
I'm paying every single bill.
You're responsible.
I signed the lease. It's I got to buy all the Wi-Fi. And I've had so much anxiety just thinking even though I know I can cover rent, I know I can do all these things, but it's just the fact that I have to make sure that I still am up to date and able to do it. So
you're accountable.
Yeah, it's just, I understand that fully. And I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, and I think everybody has had those moments in their life.
Very good segment here.
Aw.
I'm telling you, people don't admit it.
Well, no, they don't. Well, it used to be something that everybody was afraid to talk about because, like I said, and even, it's like you associated the word crazy with any time that you didn't feel quite right or therapy or whatever. And that's so far like normal. There's no such thing as normal. Everyone has different experiences that create who they are, and everyone has different genetics. Everyone has different family things that are passed on from generational, trauma or diseases, mental health, whatever. And so that was something like learning a little bit more about my family and like what's been passed on and what other people in my family deal with helped me wrap my head around my feelings and what I was experiencing. And then, trying to, because I've never been diagnosed with anything, but I know that I have anxiety and I know that I suffer from some of these other things, so it's just, and then so recognizing it and not being afraid to talk about it with someone, and then also being brave enough to do something about it. So
that's cute. Your daughter still comes to mommy.
It is like it made my, what was even sweeter was that like after we had that conversation and I sent her text with like all the different non-medicinal things to do. And one of the first things obviously on the list is movement, like do something to get your body moving so that the stuff in your brain to balance out the chemicals so that you're happy and that you don't feel that dread and that heaviness. And so she came to me like probably like a week later, maybe 3 or 4 days later, and said that she had signed up for hot yoga and she's going to start doing that. It's a membership that she can go anytime she wants. And she's like, Mom, I went and I felt fantastic. And I'm like, yay. I'm so excited. Not only that she found something that, because she's not a weightlifter, so I can't connect with her in that way.
She's small.
She just doesn't have the passion for it, or and I didn't either, to be honest. But once I experienced it, I fell in love with how it made me feel. And whatever it is that gets you to that feeling, like I 110% endorse. Like it can be running, it can be yoga, it can be Pilates, it can be lifting, whatever it is, movement or it can be Taekwondo, whatever movement it is, boxing that gets you to that feeling, I endorse. Do it because that movement is going to solve a lot of the issues. And then food is the other thing. Like your food and what you put in your body is your first form of medicine. So if you're putting a lot of sugar, and I've talked about this a ton, but like I'm just going to say it again. If you're putting a lot of sugar in your body, alcohol breaks down to sugar. If you're putting a lot of toxins in your body, those are the things in your foods. And not to say that I don't do it too, but like you have to be cognizant of it. The things that have more than 2 or 3 ingredients, those are, your body recognizes those as toxins. When that buildup happens over time, it makes you feel bad. And sugar is a depressant too. So sugar makes me like, I know that if I have alcohol and if I eat a lot of sugary things, I know the next day I'm going to be very lethargic and I'm going to be sad.
Tell me about it.
Before I understood how food affected me, I thought I was just having a bad day, or I thought, and it's like you think about and it makes you focus on negative things too. Like when you feel that way, you almost want to like waller in the nonsense, and you don't understand what you're doing because you haven't connected that food was the culprit of making you feel that way.
Alcohol. It's all
or alcohol. Yeah. Like, and we just talked about off air too, like alcohol, it's a vicious cycle. So I stayed in that vicious cycle of not knowing what felt good for years. And then once the cycle.
Are you happy now?
I am for the most part, but I still have days, that I'm not happy. And it comes from stresses in life. Like Ryan was just talking about, you go through different things in your life that are going to cause stress, and you have to have the tools there. You have to recognize the root of the problem, and then you have to have the tools to help with that problem.
Very well.
Yeah.
It's been a good segment.
Yeah. Well, it's been one that like I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I would love to bring on. Okay. I would love to bring on someone that knows more than I do. Obviously, I don't have a degree in this. It's just something that I've lived.
But you don't need a degree to live it.
You don't need a degree to live it. And I'm one for like figuring out what the problem is and addressing it. Like that's something that I do really well. I'm not afraid to do that. And I'm not afraid to recognize my own problems that I'm having. And then, the teacher in me wants to share that knowledge with people and like help heal them. So this comes from my purpose of starting ministry movement coaching. It comes with the purpose behind, and you giving me the platform with the and YouTube of just spreading the word, and it's not just about mental health. It's about the food we eat. It's about, our relationship with God, and all of it is tied together. All of it works together so that you can be the best version of yourself and become what God intended you and had in mind for you. So, but last week we talked about peptides a little bit and like supplements. So I want to talk about that too, because we didn't get a lot of time with Rocky to talk about, the peptides and supplement piece of this. And it's not something that I've talked to you guys about either, but like I take supplements and some of I recommend natural supplements to help. One of the the things that I take every night is magnesium. It's a magnesium blend. So it's going to help you sleep better. It's going to help your digestion. And I know it's probably not a topic people talk about a lot, but like as a competitor, I'm used to talking about it. But bowel movements, like if you don't have a good bowel movement every day, those toxins that are in your body are making you feel terrible. And you don't understand that it's just because you haven't flushed all the toxins out of your body.
I'd like for you to come on one day with Dr. Rick.
Oh yeah,
I'd like for you to come on with Dr. Rick one day.
I said that yesterday. I was talking to my my friend, and I was like, I told her, yeah, maybe I'm just annoyed and angry right now because I haven't taken a, you know what?
Exactly.
Like, maybe it's just that.
Exactly.
Maybe it's just the toxins.
Yep. And that's 100% like what
know your own body.
Knowing your own body, but like, and drink enough water, you know? So a lot of people don't drink enough water. I've talked about this a ton, like drink a gallon a day. You have to, because it flushes out all the toxins and then you feel lighter. You're in a better mood. You don't have bouts of being angry, you know, because like you don't have those toxins in your body affecting your mood. But the other natural supplements, like I said, magnesium at night, I normally 500 milligrams of a magnesium blend, the oxide, glycinate, or I'm losing it, citrate. So those three, that blend is nice. And then melatonin, you know, that helps calm your body. GABA, ashwagandha, those are all stress relieving natural supplements that you can take and that I've utilized for preps, because when you're stressing your body like you are with the rigorous workouts and eating the same things over and over, and unfortunately, to get you to your goal, you know, when you're at that level of competing, you do have to eat the same things over and over and over again. And so it's not, for me, I'm okay with it, but some people really struggle, but it causes your digestive system to sometimes like just get confused. And, but anyway, like having the GABA and ashwagandha to help de-stress your body, like is very helpful. And then vitamins like B12, that's going to give you your natural energy. You've got vitamin D, which is in the winter when we get that, Ryan, when we get those depressive feelings, it's because we're not getting enough vitamin D. When you don't have enough iron, you're really tired all the time. So if you notice that you're really tired all the time, it's probably because you've got vitamin deficiency somewhere. Iron is a culprit of that. Vitamin C, you know, and so vitamin C is huge. So those are all the natural supplements. And then peptides then is something like that's the next level of health that it might be something that you want to look into, you know, because if you're doing all those other things and we got a break coming up. Right. But yeah, I'll wrap it up here. But like peptides. So go like Rocky said, go to New Age, just get a free consultation, ask all the questions, do your own research. But then, you know, if you're recognizing that you're not feeling like what you know to be true for you that is good, then you need to go talk to somebody, whether that's a doctor or a health practitioner, a clinic like Rocky's, or a psychiatrist or a counselor. You know, do not be afraid to do those things, because like we talked about earlier, like
people are
1 in 3 people have a mental health disorder, you know, that you sit with in a room. I am too. So we've got 2 out of 3 in here.
You got 2 out of 3.
You got 3 out of 3.
3 out of 3 in this room.
We all are.
Yeah.
But like Juliet Bagwell, thank you so much. She's with us each and every Tuesday. How can they see her on YouTube, Ryan?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Ministry and Movement on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and also on Juliet Bagwell as well on Instagram, correct?
Yeah. Yes. So, and I spelled it nice and hard for you. So it's Ministry, MINISTRY, in the letter N, movement, MVMNT. Or you can try ministry, the actual word in, and movement. But if you just look up me, Juliet Bagwell, all those things should pop up. So.
Exactly.